Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to the weekly chapter summary series. Today we will be discussing chapter number 17 of Bhagavad Gita. The title of this chapter, chapter number 17, is The Divisions of Faith. Faith. In the previous chapter, if you remember, Krishna had described two extremes, the divine and the demoniac, right? But in our life, in our day to day experience, we see that everyone actually has many faces, huh? Not necessarily that it is either black or white. There are different shades of gray. So, when we were reading that chapter, there were some demoniac qualities which were listed. And that time when we were reading, we said, oh, yeah, I can resonate with some of these demoniac qualities. And when the divine qualities were mentioned, we thought that, oh, yes, some of these we can resonate with that also. So, we could resonate with both divine and demoniac. And like that, as we know in today's day and age, the divine and demons live in the same body. Right. So it's not like it's either divine or demoniac. Actually, we all have a mixture of both, right? So that's why here the last chapter ended with with the instruction from Lord Sri Krishna that in order to cultivate the divine qualities and get rid of the demoniac qualities, what we should do is we should follow the scriptures. This is how we ended the last chapter. So now in today's chapter, as we understand that it's not normally either extreme, but we all have different faces, okay? Different shades of gray, as we said, not black or white. So that is why our today's acronym for chapter number 17 is FACE, FACE. Okay, so F stands for faith, A stands for austerities, C stands for charity, and E stands for enjoyer of everything. So F is faith, A is austerities, C charity, E enjoyer of everything. That's FACE, FACE. Okay, let's deep dive into each one of these. So in chapter 17, called as the divisions of faith, the first seven verses talk about faith. Okay, so here the chapter starts as or most of the other chapters begin with a question by Arjuna. So Arjuna is asking a question to Krishna over here. What question is he asking? Let's see. So in the first verse, 17.1, Arjuna asks Krishna, "O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scripture? Do not follow the principles of scripture, but they do worship according to their own imagination." Because in the last chapter, in the conclusion, Krishna had emphasized the importance of following the principles of scripture. So now Arjuna is asking what happens to those who don't follow that instruction. So he's asking, are these people in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? Because in the previous chapter, we learned about the three modes of material nature, chapter 14: goodness, passion, or ignorance. So that's why Arjuna is asking what will happen to these people. So, from shloka number 2 onwards, Krishna describes how the three modes will determine the type of faith that someone may have. Faith will influence their worldviews, their lifestyles, and character traits. Like everything that they do in their life will depend on what kind of faith they have. But someone might think that not necessarily everybody has faith, right? Only the religious people or God believing people are considered to be people of faith. But that is not the reality. Actually, everyone has faith. Example, let's say if we put an alarm at night for waking up in the morning the next day, that means we have faith that we will wake up the next day. So faith is not just the faith that we put on the Lord or in a religion. Another example, let's say when we board a flight, an aeroplane, okay, from going from one point to another, we have faith that the pilot has already completed, he already has a license, he has already completed his training, he's skilled up enough to fly the plane safely from destination A, from point A to destination B. And we have that faith. Even the atheists have faith. How? Because they believe that there is no God. Believe. So they have faith that there is no God. So everybody has faith, and depending on the faith, the entire lifestyle, that the entire world views that they have, the character traits that they have, everything will be dependent on the faith. Like for example, now in the situation that we have in UAE, so some people would want to exit the country as soon as possible. Okay, they will find ways to get out of here. Some people will stay here. They will choose to continue to stay here. So again, this is, every choice that you make depends on the faith, which means some people have faith here, and some people don't have faith here, right? They have faith elsewhere where they want to go. So every decision, every day, every step that we are taking is based on faith. Okay. So this is the faith that we are talking. First, let's clarify what is faith. So that's that. And now Krishna is saying that now, based on this faith, everything gets influenced in our life. Okay, even even our diet, even the sacrifices that we do, everything depends on faith. So he's explaining it further, how our diet, our the sacrifices that we do, how these are influenced by the three modes of material nature, which influences our faith. Okay, so he explains that there are three types of food also. So, food in the mode of goodness, food in the mode of passion, and food in the mode of ignorance. Now, what are the characteristics of food in the mode of goodness? Sattvic ahar. That kind of food promotes longevity of life. It creates purity in one person. It gives strength, health, happiness, and most importantly, it gives satisfaction. So these foods are basically juicy, nourishing, it's pleasing to the heart. So these are the qualities that Krishna describes about sattvic ahar, or food in the mode of goodness. Now, what does food in the mode of passion look like? So food that is excessively bitter or sour or salty or pungent, dry and hot, and it causes distress, grief, disease. We feel uncomfortable after eating. So that is food in the mode of passion, rajasic ahar. And what is food in the mode of ignorance? Tamasic ahar kya hota hai? That is food which is prepared for more than 3 hours before being eaten. So I prepared the food now, but I eat after more than 3 hours. So it becomes food in the mode of ignorance. Of course, once food is offered to the Lord, it becomes prasad, and then it cannot be influenced by the three modes of material nature. So not to say that if the food is prepared, offered, and then eaten after 3 hours, that it's tamasic. No, that's not true. So such food is tasteless. It is decomposed, and then it is made out of impure things, from the remnants or leftovers of other things. So this kind of food is food in the mode of ignorance, tamasic ahar. Okay. Now, Krishna is also saying the faith will determine what kind of sacrifices we do, and that is also in the three modes of material nature. So, yajna, sacrifice. So, sattvic yajna, sacrifice in the mode of goodness. Sacrifice is performed according to scriptural injunctions, and where there is no desire for anything in return, any material gains, or it's just performed as a matter of duty. So that is sacrifice in the mode of goodness. Okay, what is sacrifice in the mode of passion? When the sacrifice is performed with an intention to gain something. Now, gain could be a material benefit, or it could be to gain name and fame, or to show off. That is sacrifice in the mode of passion. Oh, I made such a big sacrifice. People make sacrifice and go around and tell. That is why once I was listening to an to a lecture from Amarendra Prabhu, and he was saying it is not very difficult to chant 64 rounds, but it is more difficult to chant 64 rounds and not tell anybody about it. So that is sacrifice, right? Mahamantra ka yajna we are doing. So that, and then what is sacrifice in the mode of ignorance? So tamasic yajna, वो क्या होता है? Sacrifices performed without any regard for scriptural injunctions, without distributing any food as prasad, without any sacred hymns, without any faith. So that kind of sacrifice is sacrifice in the mode of ignorance. So the faith will determine everything. And then the faith is only influenced by three modes of material nature. So everything, that each step which we see, the food, the sacrifices, the lifestyle that we, everything will be in the three modes of material nature. This is what he's trying to explain. Then after F, for the first seven verses, comes A, austerity. So austerity means tapasya. What is austerity? Austerity means in order to achieve something, okay, we undergo some kind of austerity, some kind of tapasya. Like we sacrifice our immediate pleasure and comfort for the purpose of long term benefit. Like, for example, let's say when we are studying for a professional degree, okay, when back in those days when we were trying to study for CA or MBBS, so that time we sacrificed like going out with friends or going to the cinema, whatever the movies were, latest movies were there. When our friends who were not pursuing these professional degrees were actually going and doing that, we couldn't do that. Why? Because we wanted to study for our exams. We know it takes like 12, 14 hours every day to study for these courses. In order to achieve that degree for whatever reasons. Okay, so that means I am sacrificing my immediate pleasure of going for a movie or going out with friends for a long term benefit, which is getting that degree or a better life after that. For example, raising a child. So initially, when the child is born, there is so much austerity that is required on the part of parents and family. You have to wake up at night, and it's like so much, and then again, you cannot go out, you cannot travel for certain years. You have to always be around with the child. So that way, you are sacrificing your immediate pleasure. But why? Because from the what is the purpose? The purpose is a long term benefit, that the child will grow up to be a healthy and happy person. So that, so in this way, when we sacrifice any immediate pleasure and comfort for the purpose of long term benefit, that is called austerity. Now people who place faith in different things perform different austerities in life. So Krishna explains three types of austerities in this chapter. First is austerity of the body, then is austerity of speech, and the third is austerity of mind. So, what is austerity of body? Let's see that. So, how is austerity of body done basically? So, austerity of body means when we keep our body clean, when we follow a very simple life, when we are practicing celibacy, brahmacharya, when we are acting in a non-violent approach. So, all of these are considered to be austerity of the body. What is austerity of speech? Speaking words that are truthful, not just truthful, but also it should be pleasing. It's sometimes it says ki sach kadwa hota hai. Yeah. But you have to put it in a very pleasing manner. And not just truthful and pleasing, but it also should be beneficial for the other person. It should not be agitating to somebody else's mind. This is austerity of speech. And of course, regularly reading the scriptures, that is also reciting the Vedic literature, that is also a part of austerity of speech. What is austerity of mind? So, three types of austerity, right? Body, speech, and mind. What is austerity of mind? Is of course internal cleanliness. Again, a simple lifestyle, when you have self control, when you are calm most of the time, when you are grave. So, and this is like all of this results to purification of one's existence. So, this is called austerity of mind. So, F was faith, A was austerity, C is charity. Here, Krishna further explains about charity. Again, charity can also be three types of charity. Now, everybody has an inclination to do some kind of charity in some way to some extent. Different people have different ways of doing charity and different extent also, of course. Why everybody has this inclination to do charity is because the nature, the basic constitutional nature of the soul is to serve. And by doing this charity, we get that satisfaction of serving somebody, trying to please somebody else. So because of this innate nature of the soul to serve, everybody has a charitable disposition within everybody. Of course, the degrees are different. Now, again, the faith will decide what kind of faith somebody has, will define what efforts they will put to help others. So, what are the three types of charity explained by Krishna in these verses? Charity in the mode of goodness, charity in the mode of passion, and charity in the mode of ignorance. Let's understand one by one. What is charity in the mode of goodness? When the charity is given to a worthy person, and not just a worthy person, it should also be in a proper place. And not just the proper place, it should also be in a proper time and with the understanding that we are doing this charity only out of duty. There's nothing in return that I want of this. So that is charity in the mode of goodness, sattvic dan. Now, contrary to that comes charity in the mode of passion, mm, rajasic dan. When charity is given with the expectation of a return gift, that time it is called charity in the mode of passion. Whatever, like when we are giving, maybe we want that because we have read in the scriptures that by giving charity to so and so person, we get a 10x in the next lifetime or this lifetime or something or the other, some benefit. Maybe if I give charity on a day of eclipse, then I might get some material gain. Somebody is trying to conceive a child, so they give charity and they follow something that in return of that they might conceive a baby. Somebody's trying to get a job. So different types of, there are different recommendations in the scriptures actually for gaining different things, and for which you can do different types of charity. When it is done in this way, then it is charity in the mode of passion. Okay, it is not done selflessly, because there is an expectation of getting something in return. Now, it could be not just the material gain, again, it could also be name and fame. Oh, if I give such a big charity, then maybe my name will be put on the temple stone or whatever, anywhere. So, like that, maybe for some kind of an advertisement, you do sponsorships. That is charity in the mode of passion. And then, what is charity in the mode of ignorance? Charity given at an improper place or time to unworthy person without respect or with disdain. So, this is completely opposite to charity in the mode of goodness. So, these are the three types of charity that Krishna explains. Now, in the end of this chapter, in the concluding verses, the last five verses, here it is explained how Krishna is the enjoyer of everything. So we said E stands for enjoyer of everything. Here, if you see in the entire chapter, Krishna has discussed all these themes with reference to the three modes of material nature. It is important to understand that even those activities which are performed in the mode of goodness will still yield some kind of karmic reactions. It will not liberate you. So, what we need to do is we need to go beyond the mode of goodness also. Of course, to transcend the three modes of material nature, to go even beyond mode of goodness, first we have to reach to the mode of goodness. So that is true that our lifestyle should be cultivated in a way that everything is in the mode of goodness, because mode of goodness is like an airport. Even I have to go to another country, but I have to go to the airport first. So that is why first we have to arrive at mode of goodness and then we can transit. But yeah, the fact is that not just stay in the mode of goodness, we have to go beyond it, right? Why? Because even in the mode of goodness, we will have to come back, take another life to enjoy the benefits of our good karma, right? It still has some karmic reaction. So we need to find a way out. What is the way out which is mentioned in this chapter specifically? Of course, in previous chapters, there are different ways out given. In this one, there is this concept of Om Tat Sat that is explained. There are three words, Om Tat Sat. What is the meaning of that Om Tat Sat? Like everybody wants to be successful, right? I'm assuming that each one of you who's present here wants to be successful in all the spheres of their life. So Any act that is performed for the pleasure of Lord Krishna with faith and devotion becomes successful, and it purifies the heart. So, that is the hack to becoming successful. That is the meaning of Om Tat Sat. Contrarily, if one acts without any faith in Lord Sri Krishna and does and performs these actions, then what are they? They are considered as asat, opposite of sat, or unreal. And these will not yield any lasting results. So, this is how the meaning of Om Tat Sat is explained, that every action that we do should be performed for Lord Sri Krishna. So we continue to do the same actions. It's not that we are changing anything that we are already doing, but we are changing the intention and the consciousness of performing that action, that it is being done not for anybody else, not for my own self, but only for the pleasure of the Lord. So thank you so much for your time and attention. If anybody has any questions or comments, please feel free to unmute yourself. Hare Krishna.